have been kicking behind, and they have resiliency beyond anything you don't see nobody in the world with that kind of resilience. I mean, in modern times. In the old days, you saw China had it with the long march and holding on and all of that stuff. And now economically, they come mumbling to us about China do this. We're watching China closer than anybody. Don't you worry about China. But no, you better worry about them. Because they done bumped your behind. Boss man, he's bumped. He is bumped. Okay. Now, to get to this point about the purpose of archivism, to have the archives of all of this. So nobody will be able to come and say that this just happened. And the TV and all of that stuff, they won't be able to do us like they did Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They get hold to the few videos, a few records that they made in those days, and then they have little addendums to what they're really talking about, or sometimes they give out the whole record. You know, Battle of the Bullets, like. You see what I mean? Okay. They can't do that with us. Why? Remember grand jury approach, all of that? After you look at what we've been doing, you could tell that we have not been playing with nobody, and we've been wearing out boss man. We have educated the people on him over and over and over again. If you get one or two of these, long as they are, these videos, right, and then you get 4 or 5 of them, you got the answer. This that has happened during our time is because this was what has been needed for the time in which we live. We live in our time. And as human beings, we have to research our time, the patterns of behavior, the living. What do we need? So we need someone to archive and chronicleize. Not only to get the archives, but to chronicleize it, step by step by step, right? So that anybody that wants to affect the system can take that pattern, right? And wherever you stopped, they can adjust and add on to that with whatever skill they can acquire. But with what we have now, we have all of these arrests. This is a deed. This is our deed to the Masjid in Oakland. Yeah, it's the deed to the Masjid in Oakland. It has Clarence Reams up here at Masjid al-Islam, paid the tax. Clarence Reams right here again, signature, right? They have Mukhtar and them bum rushing. And Mukhtar is telling a story. I've been here since I was 13 years old. That nigga's lying. He's lying, and I'm going to tell him that he's been lying, and I'm going to make fun of. Well, first of all, when you start adding up, none of that's 13 years old. He hasn't been there since 13. It's impossible, right? He just wasn't there when he was 13. Maybe 19 or 20. Because he had a kid when he got there. He wasn't no baby. He had his son, shoot his son. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Mukhtar, this is the new deed that they gave this company. Mukhtar sold our properties 8105 to 8111 to 8121. Sold it all. Yeah, sold it all. But he didn't have no right to do it, right? And I got all the other, I don't have time to go through, I'm going to try to be quicker this time. We have everything laid out on their paperwork from their trials. You know what he said in court, another thing, right? So he's on record as saying certain things. They told him, I think I might have read it to y'all before. Well, Mr. Mujahid, you became the chief of staff down here in what, 2014, 2013, and 2012. When was it? Well, I shouldn't have said that. But in my own mind, I had became, yeah. The court don't go with what's in your mind. So when I get them on the witness stand, I'm gonna slap them around so bad, because they ain't gonna have no idea where I'm coming from. I'm gonna ask the questions that they've already answered, or ask a whole new set of questions, then come back with the questions that they've already answered in the other court. And he's going to try to cram, both of them are going to try to cram and remember. And it's like a test, especially when you making this, making that. And I'm going to tease them. I'm going to have fun with them, because I'm going to be just as black and confident. And I'm not going to be sounding like no damn fool like we do here. I mean, not like we sound like a fool, but I'm going to sound like an attorney. I'm going to use attorney-fied diction. Oh, yes. We've been planning this stuff. You could tell this has been in the works for decades. Decades, yeah, because, see, we had to have a plan, a rescue plan, based on the war that's being fought against us, right? The attacks that's being launched on us. And we have to make an assessment. This is a nice brother here. Boy, look at here. Do you know that the government in Oakland, I couldn't file no report on this, but I got a letter from the county of Alameda saying that we understand that you had some attack and that you can get some type of restitution, or you might be injured so bad that you may need assistance and time to recover. You know, they got them type of programs, assistance programs. I got the letter from the county, but they wouldn't take when I would call them. And remember, I got all the numbers that I call the city. I call the police department. I call the desk after this, and it has their numbers. And I call the captain of the police department, you know, that we know, or they know. We did all of that, right? And the captain told me in one of the talks, okay, my kids is in summer school or something, and soon as they get out, I'll get with you. The only thing is, that was the wrong week for summer school. The kids was already out. They had passed that. And then we have all the dates, because you know on your phone they have all the dates, you have the exact time, and you have how many times you called a number. That number is the gang unit, the police unit, and that's the person. In other words, and then, well, we've shown all this stuff before. But see, this is Pete and Charlotte and what have you. And, okay, all that's fine. But we have, this is one of the Bobos we had, and this is how bad, look how bad that house used to look that we live in now. Remember how bad it used to look? It was terrible. It was dilapidated and falling down. It was dilapidated. That's why nobody wanted it. I looked at that boy, I said, that's great. No, we put a cathedral ceiling in there. You know, it don't look like that to nobody else, but to us, this is great. After living in the room back there and downstairs, right? Shoot, it's a cathedral. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. The president of Iran that nobody over here likes. And the tattletale Iranian has President Ahmadinejad, or they call the hospital GW. Before I'm getting ready to go into the operating room, my kids are down there and they call from Iran. And the president says in broken English, I hope you do okay. That's stuff like that. Although I was halfway under. Our people, you don't have to worry. Why are we so dedicated to this? Because they knock over our people. If you make one mistake, they'll kill you, right? You make one mistake, they'll kill you. Everybody know that Imam Luqman was not a thief. Everybody know the white boy or whoever it was brought him that stuff, right? Just go and look at it. That's all they wanted to look at this stuff. That's why if somebody called me, well, we want you to come and check it out yourself. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't going nowhere. If you want to help, you convert that into cash and then bring it by and we'll take it. Maybe. But you have to remember the history. See, we have been studying our history. We have been studying our people. This is not a haphazard deal. We have been studying our people. We've been studying the enemies of our people. And we've been doing good. There ain't nobody got no record like this, especially, we'll get to it in a minute. We are to the point to where we manipulate the system. Well, we've been there a long, long time to where we manipulate the system. We have it do what we want it to do. If you don't believe it, just a little simple stuff. Like, let me show you here. If you could come up and look at these, the numbers. I know you don't want to. Okay. Now, that's your number. And now look at no caller ID. Then no caller ID, no caller ID, no caller ID, no caller ID. And that was yesterday, right? And then when you get down, you're going to get to their actual, where they're using, that's their number right there, 2 calls. And we keep, remember the white man on the line or the Negro on the line? That means you got them hooked, right? You can't find no phone where I'm calling them all the time, right? I never call them. I never call them. One time, you know that those pocket calls where you sit down or something, and I looked at it, so it couldn't be over 30 seconds when they show up on the time thing, and I ain't said nothing. I remember, okay, now, you got to remember what kind of program you're going to have when you can domesticate the system of the United States government. What's the system that you can combine and use at a certain time in the history of yourself and the history of the system when your credibility, earned credibility is at a high point and their credibility is at a low point and getting lower? The Americans run out of Korea, ran out of Vietnam, ran out of wherever it is. Right? Run out of Afghanistan, got run out of Iraq. They haven't won nothing. With all the people they killed. These brutal murderers, man. And what effect do they have on us? None. Absolutely none. Now I'm going to try to get into, we was calling it boss, we'll call it boss man on the line. If you see them call me that many times, after I said what I said the other day, see, we're sitting in here and I say this on the phone, right? And the next day, they load up. I might answer one time and then hang up, and they call back.